So Trump's tariffs, which have proven to be a tax on U.S. households and businesses and are widely unpopular, got knocked down by the Supreme Court, though he's already quickly announced ways to get part of the way back through a blanket 15% tariff under a different legislative authorization and other means. It all portends an extended period of new attempts at legislation and potential new lawsuits and lots of uncertainty. But the question is, did Trump's original tariffs work while they were in force? I'm Richard Vague with Tycos. Trump articulated several purposes or goals for these tariffs, including goals as disparate as forcing support for his Greenland dreams. But the three most important and easiest goals to now assess are his promise that they would eliminate the trade deficit, bring a renaissance in U.S. manufacturing, and simultaneously make a positive dent in the budget deficit. So how did tariffs do on those three counts? Well, not all that well. First, let's look at the trade deficit. You can see from this month-by-month chart, if we look at goods only, which are those things directly affected by the tariffs, our deficit remains around the same level as when Trump took office in January of 2025. Note that March 2025 had a spike in imports in preparation for Liberation Day in April. They were trying to get in under the wire, as it were. So that's the story on the impact of Trump's tariffs on trade. However, there is some good news related to the impact of services on the trade balance, something that is unrelated to tariffs. If we factor in services, we've actually improved a little bit from this time last year, primarily because of improvement in software service exports. If we look at our trade deficit with China, we actually improved that deficit, but if you look closely, you will quickly see that our deficit got close to that much worse with the rest of the world, which suggests China simply sidestepped the tariffs through rerouting or other means, so the result was a net zero change. As for bringing a revolution in manufacturing, it has failed there too so far, as manufacturing jobs in the U.S. have actually been declining and are now down to 12.6 million. The tariffs failed in our view because we hadn't rebuilt U.S. manufacturing capacity first, so companies weren't ready to take advantage of them. Take this anecdote about one firm as an example. It wanted to move electric motor production from China to the U.S., but needed a much more highly automated plant in the U.S. to do so and lacked the time and especially the funds to do so. A modest government grant could have made that possible. And at the point it had built that highly automated U.S. manufacturing plant, a tariff on foreign competition would have worked, boosting its sales. Instead, grants such as that were scarce, given our national investment in R&D was being cut, read Doge, at the very moment it was most needed. In fact, we now spend about 60% less on R&D as a share of GDP. I'm talking about government spending on R&D than in the 1960s. So what did happen with this electric motor manufacturing company? It succeeded in moving its manufacturing out of China, but unfortunately not to the U.S., but to a different country. Chalk that up as a national opportunity squandered and multiply that times countless factories that similarly were unable to be prepared. Okay, so we didn't vastly improve our trade deficit, but we are getting loads of tariff income. So isn't our budget deficit getting better? We're still waiting for the 2025 Q4 data from the BEA, and we'll report when that happens. But our current data tells us the answer so far is no, because other sources of revenue have plummeted in some cases because of these tariffs. So our deficit to GDP is actually no better than it was, and on a nominal basis, the budget deficit could be heading to record highs. In any event, the very concept of tariffs now has a huge black eye, when in reality, if they had been carefully targeted, judiciously deployed, they could have brought true benefit to many U.S. businesses. Oh well, that's it for this week. Thanks.